In uniform. I've been shot at. I've been in gunfights where hesitation got people killed. So when I watch 6 elected members of Congress in a fully choreographed video tell U.S. service members that they can refuse illegal orders, every alarm in my body went off. This was not meant to help the troops. It wasn't about legality. It was about sowing doubt inside the one institution that cannot afford doubt. The bottom line up front, our troops are not the ones who need reminders about illegal orders.
What's up, folks? Your boy Despot. Welcome to another episode of Observations of an Idiot. Title is pretty self-explanatory. I am fucking stupid, folks. So, you know what they say about debating stupid people. Don't even try, because I don't want to hear it. What I'm trying to do here is have a little bit of fun, maybe throw in a little bit of levity, although it might seem aggressive, but I've had to simplify my life by just opening my eyes, actually opening my eyes, and seeing through my eyes and not my ears, not my thoughts. What's right in front of me? The observation that is right in front of me. Now, a lot of you people think you're intellectuals because you're willing to go 3, 4, 5 layers deep. But the thing is, that doesn't make you smarter than me. It doesn't mean you're working harder for the answer, because you're not digging through mud and muck. You're being dragged that many levels deep. That's a psychosis that seems to afflict a lot of people today. But before I get into today's topic, there are several different forces at play right now, especially in this country, that have us all divided. But I'll just go with the main two, left and right. Here's how I see it. You have one side that they live, eat, sleep, and shit feelings, emotions, passion, and fear. And the other side looks at truth, facts, evidence, and the thing they have most in common, fear. And then one side looks at the other side and says, how can you not feel bad for the plight of this, that, or the other fuck? And while the other side does look pretty heartless, and their approach to things is, show me the evidence that I can fix this. There's what we want, and then there's reality. Within reality, we can take care of everybody and everything. But one side says, unless you show me proof that cutting this child's cock off is going to be to their benefit in the long run, I am heartless to your plight. And while we disagree, what we don't understand is the bigger hand at play. The puppeteer, our overlords, both in politics, media, culture. These people make it to these positions because they have mastered the art of not just manipulation, but human behavior. They know more than anything human instinct, human behavior, mob mentality, and they have just enough charisma to hit those triggers in us that make us ravenous. And we take the attention off them and we stay focused on each other, because while we fight, they are not threatened. Left or right, our overlords are not threatened because we are constantly at war with this bullshit. While it's obvious I'm right-leaning, I consider myself as close to center as you're ever going to get. Whether you believe that or not, I don't give a fuck, even if that looks heartless. But let me run this scenario through your head. Someone like Mark Kelly stands up in a movie theater and points in any general direction and screams, Nazi. Favorite term loved to use by that side, Nazi. Do you know how much I hate Nazis? In fact, since we're in a movie theater, you know I'm fucking carrying. You scream Nazi, I'm drawing down with you. I want them just as dead as you do. The difference between you and me is, when I find the target, I don't simply pull the trigger. I take a second to study it. I investigate a little and I lower my weapon and go, that's not a Nazi. That's just Charlie Kirk. What the fuck are you talking about? Your side takes the shot, because him screaming Nazi wasn't a suggestion. It didn't require further investigation. The only decision you had to make in your brain was, does he feel like a Nazi? And therefore, what this fictional Mark Kelly just said wasn't a suggestion or an accusation. It was an order. It was a command to act. That's the mind of the unhinged. That's how it works. So getting to the topic of today's show, all this bullshit that's been going on for weeks over this vile fucking video that our DC politicians decided to put out, the Seditious 6. And they try to turn the whole thing around to point at this post by Trump. Seditious behavior punishable by death. Probably the most vague, obscure post he's ever made. Who's he talking about? Who's he referring to? What fucking kind of country do we live in where 6 people are so privileged they raise their hand and volunteer for this position? They raise their hand and saying, hi, I'm the seditionist. That vague post he put up in the middle of the day, you probably don't know what it means. Here's what it means. Why would you fucking point the finger at yourself? It's like if a fictional Mark Kelly were to stand up in a movie theater and point in any general direction and say Nazi, and 3 people stood up and said, oh, I'm over here, I'm the Nazi, right? Or if he pointed and said pedophile, would 5 pedophiles stand up in the theater and fucking just out themselves? This is so fucking retarded. And here's the fucked up part. They claim their message was to members of the military, folks. It wasn't. It was to unhinged lunatics on both sides. Their message was to the unhinged. Just days after this vile hooer suggests, well, perhaps he could give an order for the National Guard to shoot people in the street. How many days later did it take a member of the fringe, someone they were targeting with that initial commercial, right? How many days later did it take for us to have 2 shot, one of them lost to us forever? This is who they're talking to. But wait, there's more. If you don't think these people are willing to murder members of our own military, you aren't seeing what's right in front of your eyes. First and foremost, and Tim Pool pointed this out, he was the first one to come out and say, folks, read the law. Sedition isn't punishable by death. It's a 20-year maximum. He's absolutely right. That makes these people look like even bigger fucking retards. Why would you say I'm the seditionist he's talking about with this vague post if sedition isn't punishable by death? At least not how it applies to you. See, people confuse sedition with treason. Treason's death, not sedition. That is sedition not committed by a member of the military. There is one instance in which sedition is absolutely punishable by death, and that is sedition committed by any active member of our military in their official capacity. Then it's absolutely punishable by death. So while the Democrats try to say, oh, he's just stupid, he doesn't know it's not punishable by death. Well, it is in one instance. And it's punishable by death to members of the military. He can easily say his post wasn't to these douchebags who are outing themselves ridiculously. My message is to any member of the fucking military that takes that message and decides, does this feel illegal? He's saying, I will fucking execute you where you stand, and rightfully so. And Mark Kelly knows this, and Mark Kelly doesn't give a fuck about you. Remember, folks, this was just a couple years ago. Happened right in front of your face. There was one side that said, if you leave the house, you're a grandmother killer. If you leave the house without a mask, we'll put you in prison unless you were going to burn your fucking city to the ground. Then you didn't need a fucking mask. Then crowds didn't fucking matter, right? They were willing to kill their own. They knew people would die, and they absolutely died during the Summer of Love. They knew this would happen. They said they've earned it, right? They gave into that fucking passion. Remember? Feelings, emotion, passion, and more than anything, fear. And no, you folks on the right aren't any fucking better with your fear. Unfortunately, both sides, that's the controlling emotion in the fucking meter. But there was only one side that said, go out and kill your fucking neighbors and honor a social justice. Burn down your own favorite liquor store. Burn down the neighborhood barbershop, right? And you were so fucking stupid, you did everything they commanded. You didn't go burn their neighborhoods down. Just your own. In the name of justice, let's burn down a black-owned restaurant. And you couldn't catch a single fucking Democrat to this fucking day that will speak out against that entire fucking summer. Cities burned. People died. There's the proof you need right in front of your face. I'm not thinking deep. I'm seeing what's happening right before us. They don't give a fuck which member of the military disobeys. They're not going to be at their court-martial. They're not going to be at their execution. They're going to rah-rah and fundraise over it. They don't give a fuck. They're willing to sacrifice you. Why? Because up until now, they had a steady pipeline of voters to replace you. This is why the unvetted illegal immigration was out of fucking control. They thought they were going to have an endless supply of people that would gladly put down on any mail-in ballot, yes, I'm Mrs. Robinson, I'm Mrs. Shephouse, and send their vote fucking in. Hell, they didn't even have to send it in. A ballot harvester would go and collect it, knowing that this obvious Juan Carlos Sanchez is not Mrs. Abigail Shephouse, and still collect the fucking ballot with her name on it. She passed 3 years ago. They have a steady line of replacement for you. And when I mentioned Tim Pool earlier, this is what I was talking about. See, these are the people they were talking to, both the terrorists that shot the National Guards people and any member of the military that says, I don't know, this kind of feels illegal. Here's Mark Kelly saying it. He won't tell you directly what an illegal order is, because once he does, he knows at that point he's crossed the line. He could be recalled to active duty and court-martialed on the fucking spot. He won't commit to the fucking answer. Instead, he says whatever feels right to you. Folks, that's gonna get you killed. And now this post speaks to me even louder. You better make sure this order you're about to disobey is 1,000,000% in fact illegal, or I will fucking hang you where you stand. Later, bitches.
Get him, Jay.
I'm not a cop.
You got DP'd.